Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started. My name is Tiffany Janae. I am with Organic Blood Yoni Eggs. I am the owner of the company, and I just want to thank you all, first of all, for all of your love and support throughout the time that you have given it to us. Whether you're new here or you've been rocking with us for a couple years, I'm very, very appreciative to you. I did want to share that we are in the process of some major transitions. So I too, like all of my clients, am a woman who is going through my own journey and of womanhood, of learning and discovering and expanding and brokenness and repairing. And so one of those things that I'm working on right now is restoring my branding. About 3 years ago, we launched some packaged yoni eggs. We were the only company at the time who did it, and it came from a vision straight from my womb, and it was beautiful. But the packaging had some flaws to it that I wanted to recreate and do something better. And so it's taking me some time. And one day I'm going to share my story with you in totality as far as in what this business has represented to me. The yoni eggs and me getting into them. I began as a customer some years back, and it's just grown from there to where I, over time, grew it into a business, and I've become of service to many of you women. But it's my journey's a little bit different, I think, because of I have thousands of eggs around me, and so the intensity of what I'm dealing with from these eggs is its own journey. And I'm always like, hurry up, I want to get this done. I want it to look like this. Why is it taking so long? And I would have loved to have had brand new packaging out to you guys a couple years ago, but it just, as God would have it, it's not happening in that way. And so I have to get present into that and to say, like, what is being communicated to me and what is it I need to learn? And I believe that I'm creating something that you all will be really proud of me as your sister, and inspired to see what it is that I've overcome, the odds that I've had to overcome, and the work that my own darkness that I've had to face, and where I've had to go with inside of myself to really produce on the level that I want to produce within this business, within this movement, within this lifestyle, to continue delivering to you, to continue providing space for you all to grow and move. So we've brought the prices down a lot on our eggs, because one of the reasons why our pricing was so high was because of the total experience that we were giving you with our packaging. And I want to reach as many women as I can. So I'm looking for ways to still provide a beautiful experience for you, but to also bring down the pricing. So right now, while I'm in between packaging, I'm back to my old school packaging of just eggs, pouches, and directions. And I can't wait to show you what it is that I'm working on. And so while I'm in this transition, I am able to offer you really great pricing on the yoni eggs. And where I'm falling a bit short in my own expectations on my packaging, I am over exceeding in the energy of the eggs and the cultivation of the energy within the eggs. We have recently relocated to Paradise, and if you have shopped with us recently, you know where that is. And so we are in a very powerful vortex, and there's some ancient wisdom within this region that is needing to be brought forth. And we as the women have to give birth to this through our wombs, through our sacred portals. But in order for us to give birth to this new world, this new vision, and reactivate the wisdom that has been stored and left to us by the mineral people and by ancient civilizations, we have to do the cleansing within our womb space to get out the low frequency things that may be setting in there, and cleanse that out, and then activate it with these high frequency crystals. And so I had a very sincere conversation with my crystals, and I was like, we need to go somewhere to where we can raise the frequency of myself, since I am a facilitator of this, and also of you to the mineral people, so that you can really, because crystals are programmable, and that's why they're in our phones, they're in televisions, they're in all of these different things, technology, because they're programmable, which means that they have a lot of knowledge within them. But being that they are programmable and they go through so many transits of coming from here, being made, passing through this person, that person, before they get to me, and even passing from me, I wanted to bring them back to a very sacred space of land, so that while they are in this land, they are being recharged with this high frequency knowledge. So I am over exceeding in that arena, to where the energy and the frequency and the vortex energy and all of that is it's higher than what I've ever cultivated. And I've been known over the years through my company for having extremely high frequency crystals and yoni eggs that I send out. So this is just a testament to say that I'm even exceeding that by being in the region that I'm in, by bringing my eggs back to paradise into the sacred land. So thank you for rocking with me. Thank you for being patient with me, and know that I am working on something that is going to make you very proud of your sister. All right. So we'll get started with tonight's class. We are talking about Black Obsidian. What we were promoting about was facing your own darkness, and there was an eclipse that passed on August 7th, and I'm sure you felt it. In my all women's group, if you're not in there, you can leave us a comment. We'll add you in the Organic Blood Yoni Egg group on Facebook. We were discussing the energy on that day, and it was just like, whew, frantic for us all. You know, it was a lot for us to take on, but we made it. And that's not even the most intense eclipse. We still have another one coming up, a solar eclipse on August 21st. So I consulted with the crystals, and I was like, what do we offer to the women to help them deal with this? And I came up with Black Obsidian because, first of all, many of you are scared of Black Obsidian, because if you go on our website, you read, and the first thing it says is like, face your darkness. Are you ready to face the darkest parts of yourself? And everybody's usually like, hell no, and they move on. But so I wanted to offer it as a solo sell so that you wouldn't get lost in some of the other safer choices, and you would have to choose this Black Obsidian. Now is the time. Because what astrologically, if we stay in tune with the seasons, all right, so let's talk seasons first of all. So life is seasons. Nature teaches that. It happens in our own personal life through our emotions. So we have the wheel of life, as they teach in the Buddhist in Buddhism, right? So the wheel of life is this, constantly spinning. So we have at the top, we have summer. At the bottom, we have winter. And then the two sides, we have the in-between, summer and fall. So extreme, extreme, mild, mild, right? And that's how our life goes. And so with it going like this, the wheel of life is constantly turning. We're standing right on top of that wheel of life. So meaning no matter what the wheel is doing, whether we're going through our own personal winter, our darkness, or we're going through a summer of celebration, or we're somewhere in between, we're just kind of coasting and maintaining. Our job is to maintain ourselves through it all. So in the summer, we're not getting too turnt, because we know that another season is coming, so we're not just unrealistic and so happy and craving the feelings of summer, because it's just a season and it's just a sensation. And we know that winter is coming, and the same thing in winter, we don't tank too far. We go into our darkness, we deal with what needs to be faced, but we're not tanking so far to where we're just lost, you know, because we know that it's just a sensation and it's going to keep moving. You're not going to stay in that darkness forever. It's going to keep moving. But there are certain things to do while you are within that space to help you through the seasons, to maximize what's happening. All right. So that's what I want to share with you tonight, is how do we maximize the Black Obsidian and then the darkness that's coming with the solar eclipse. So let me take a sip of my green juice. All right. So let me just start with what the solar eclipse is. It's going to be on August 21st, and throughout most of the United States, we'll be able to see it. And I believe, don't quote me, but there's going to be, I won't even say it, but a few minutes of complete darkness, which is a big deal. And it doesn't come without feeling. So in my research that I've done, it is said that the eclipse is so significant because it's the passing of energies. And with the darkness, there's dark energy that will be passing by that kind of just going to be released. And energy never dies. It just takes on different containers. So energetically, our environment is going to have a lot of darkness just kind of being thrown out into our atmosphere. And we are a container. And social media, the climate of social media teaches us that We're in a time now where everybody's like high vibes, you know, good times all the time. If you're not on my frequency, I'm not talking to you. I'm not dealing with that. I only want to be happy. If you're bringing down my vibe, like leave me alone. And we're basically like okay, that's good. Yeah. Good thing to aspire to be happy all the time, for sure. But if we stay in the mode of just everything has to be happy, and if it's not happy, I'm ignoring it or I'm running the other way, then we're going to constantly be running from darkness, which is inevitable. The yin, the yang, the morning, the night, you know, it's like masculine, feminine, negative, positive. It's contrast. Life is contrast. And if we are only preparing ourselves to be high vibes and positive all the time, then we miss out on some vital nutrients. We miss out on a whole cultivation of ourselves that needs to happen. And so I'm encouraging you to not just run from the darkness and to pretend like you're better than it or pretend like it's not happening or to ignore it, because there's no way to outrun it. So you can block everybody that you want to block and tune everything that you want to tune out, but it doesn't matter. Death will come, you know, and darkness will come eventually. And if you never spend the time cultivating how to deal with the darkness, then you're always going to crash when it comes, because it's unrealistic to believe that you're going to live this life without experiencing darkness. Unless you live in Alaska for 6 months out of the year, but then I don't know where you would go the other 6 months out of the year. But, you know, other than that, you're going to deal with darkness. We have moods in ourselves, you know? We're happy, 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 and then we're like, I just want to kill myself. Someone just told me that today. They're like, today I'm feeling good, but last week I wanted to die. Like, and that's how it goes. And so the more that we can cultivate ourselves within the darkness, then the better we'll be prepared. And wisdom tells us that winter is coming. And let's not forsake, like, oh, I don't care about winter. I'm going to act like winter's not going to come. And I'm only going to just celebrate summer, because you're going to be up shit creek if you haven't done your canning, if you haven't done your preserving, if you haven't done your preparation, if you haven't got firewood and done all of those things to help you sustain through the darkness where resources are limited. You're going to be having a hard time. But the more that you prepare for that, then winter's not so bad. So the eclipse is an extreme to remind us of the importance of darkness. And within our womb, it's the darkest space in our body. You know, it's this dark portal. And we see that life is born through the darkness. Look at that. Life is cultivated and pushed through the darkness, you know? So there's a lot of goodness that happens in the darkness. And I would just encourage you all to not just be all ignore everything that's not high vibrational and only focus on high vibrational. There's a whole other world, you know? And there's so much to get to know about yourself within that space. And it has a lot to do with the trauma and the energy that is stored within the womb space. That darkness that has been shoved away, that's being ignored, that's not being faced. And that's why many of you, when the Black Obsidian comes up, you're like, nope, not ready to deal with that. What did it say? Face my own darkness? Nope, not ready to deal with that. But that's exactly where you need to go, because that's where the trauma is at. That's where the goodness is at. That's where your liberation is at. If you can stand up and face that, that's where your liberation will be free, to where you won't have to run from things. You can stand up and face it. Like, I could deal with anything. Bring me anything, I can deal with it and transmute it and use it for my benefit and then get higher and higher. Yeah? As opposed to, oh, if it comes this way, I'm just going to lose my shit, you know? So let me just read to you what Black Obsidian is about. So when the eclipse comes, I chose Black Obsidian for you during this time because it's important to protect yourself. Knowing that all of this darkness is going to be released. We already have our own darkness to face. Let's not house the universe's darkness inside of us. You know? Random stuff flying around. So there is a level of protection that we want to bring into ourselves during this time. And that's why I chose Black Obsidian. So let me read to you. Black Obsidian's energy is that of protection. Its frequency seals the aura and removes energetic attachments, hooks, and cords. Black Obsidian's energy creates a protective shield that helps one remain centered when faced with negativity. Black Obsidian's protective energy also extends to the level of the mind, illuminating negative thoughts and mental habits so action can be taken to clear their root causes. It allows one to perceive where one is creating negativity in one's own life and guides one to change the underlying patterns that create a negative reality. Black Obsidian helps uncover unconscious thoughts and patterns that inhibit one's spiritual and personal growth. These patterns can contribute to addiction, abusive behavior toward oneself or others, negativity, scarcity, and other undesirable traits. Black Obsidian gently yet firmly points out where one holds these patterns and assists in clearing them from the auric field and cellular memory. Black Obsidian assists in recognizing where one is holding negativity and helps to illuminate and cleanse negative emotional patterns from the aura. It can assist those who are very psychically or emotionally sensitive to maintain the integrity of their energy fields. Black Obsidian is a powerful emotional teacher. It leads one to an understanding and acceptance of the darker side of one's nature, so that aspect can be evolved and illuminated. It assists in breaking negative emotionally based patterns such as self-abuse, eating disorders, and addictions when one is willing to take responsibility for one's own healing. See, that's all good stuff. You guys been scared this whole time, and Black Obsidian's actually good stuff. You don't have to be scared of Black Obsidian. It's actually good. And that's the darkness that I'm speaking of within our own selves. Because for far too long, we've been hiding from it. And the astrology right now is kicking our ass. All right? The astrological transits that are happening they're beating us up. But it's good stuff because it's shaking us out of our comfort zones. Excuse me. And it's illusional comfort zones. If you have to run from something and it brings straight up fear to you to have to face it, then you're not really comfortable in your life. So what the astrology is calling forth, because this month in August, historically August is one of the most challenging months that there is. We go back to school. So as a child, we usually hate this time because summertime is over. So we go back to school. We have to start waking up early and going to bed early. So we have those vibes from that youth, all right? We usually have some very heavy astrological transits that happen through August. The season is about to change. And in this particular August, we have 2 eclipses, and Mercury retrograde officially begins tomorrow. Dun, dun, dun. And so, yeah, lots of good stuff is happening for us. In my personal story, August has always been a challenge for me. Like when I look back in my history, I can see how August was a challenge. One of my most prevalent memories was when I graduated from high school in 1998. I was jumped by about 10 different girls. And not only was I jumped, I was in a space where there was this festival going on in my town. And it was a yearly festival, and they block off all the streets. So you're kind of just in this little space, you know? And so I was down there for this event, and for the first time in history, it broke out into a riot. And people were burning cars and, like, flipping them over, going in as a group, just people would join together, like whatever was released during this time. I'll have to go back and see what the astrology was during this, but whatever was released energetically just opened up the darkness in people. So they started throwing like fireballs. They were setting trash cans on fire and tossing them, and they were flipping over cars that were parked on the street and just running wild. It was so scary. And so a mob of girls that had been bullying me for a really long time, for at least a year. They found me and they were like, bitch, we're gonna kick your ass, all this stuff, right? And they followed me around for so long, and then eventually they got me into a corner, and they jumped me. And I have really good protective spirits around me, and so I came out without a scratch on my body. And one of the girls that was with me was one of our state's fastest track runners. And so she found me in there. She was totally not a fighter. And she found me in there amongst all of this. And I never felt a punch hit my body, which is the strangest thing because I know it was happening. And she came into all the chaos and she grabbed my hand and she was like, don't stop running. And I'm not a runner. And I'm running with like the state champion and she's pulling me and she pulled me to safety. And anyways, I got my safety and whatever. But that happened for me in August. And August brings highs and lows for me. Like, I also experience a lot of mainstream, like, I have things go viral for me on social media. I'll get a lot of mainstream media attention. Last year I had a segment on CBS. You know, I had an article released on one of my favorite blogs. But then I also had a mob of women, again, bullying me, but online. So this is my echo that happens with August. And it makes me want to go, like, I could just sleep through August. You know, like, there's that feeling inside of me of, like, wake me when August is over because just so much comes up. But I, too, in my own womanhood journey, have to face that energy. And I can't spend the rest of my life trying to go into a coma when August comes around. So I have to figure out how to deal with that energy as well, just like you all. You know, and so when you realize what the echo is, and maybe for you, I share my personal story with you because I hope that it inspires you to go inside of yourself to just remember your history. Not only just in August, but just in general. There's these echoes of life, like echoes of feeling, of intensity. So it's not the same exact situation, but it's the intensity of that emotion of like the same type of feeling of being jumped or being experiencing death or major breakups happen or something like that, you know, or maybe you had a car accident in a particular time, and so every year around this same time you start to feel that. Or maybe your parent died around this time of year, and so every time around this particular time of year you feel these feelings. Something like that. That's the echo. And August definitely comes with its own strong echo. And it's just part of life. You know, we have the great times of July and June, and then we have August, and then we have December where it's dark and cold, you know? So it's just part of the journey to learn how to deal with these things so that you don't have to avoid it. And within the womb space, it's manifested physically for many women. And that's how you have the heavy menstrual cycles, the cysts, the fibroids, the not able to carry life through. You know, trouble manifesting your goals, things like that. That's all stored inside of the womb. And so the move is to deal with those things. And sometimes we don't make that choice on our own to deal with them. So nature does it for us. That's the great thing. The universe is going to do it for you. So if you want to spend your life trying to avoid things, but you're really not avoiding it, you're still housing it. If it brings up anger, anxiety, sadness, any type of energy that is adverse to how you want to feel, then you haven't dealt with it. It's still there. It's still being housed in the womb. You're still giving life to that. You're feeding it. You're giving it an umbilical cord and you're sending your nutrients to it. That's how deep it is. And so it makes it really hard to cultivate new echoes that reflect higher vibrational things from the light, because you are giving all your nutrients to the darkness. So just keep that in mind of how powerful the womb is and how powerful you are and what it is that you give life to inside of that womb space. And sis, get all of that stuff out. So part part of my intention of moving my offices to Paradise and to this high frequency vibration is so that the crystals can absorb the higher frequency, the wisdom, beyond all of the pain and the trauma and the generational curses. There's also a lot of wisdom that was left for us too. But if we never get past the pain and the trauma, and we're not constantly cultivating ourselves and learning from our mistakes, learning from our trauma, transmuting the pain, transmuting the negative energy, then there's not room in your womb space to house the wisdom, because you're giving birth and life, you're cultivating all of that darkness in there. So that's the whole point of the yoni eggs from my perspective, is to bring these high frequency beings into your space and let their high vibes purge out all of that old stuff and reprogram your frequency of your womb back to a higher level, so that you can start giving birth to healthy beings. Not just children, but like healthy visions and goals. Because when you have all of this darkness inside of your womb, and it's the negativity, it's the things that told you weren't worthy. It's the things that told you that you deserved abuse. It's the things that told you that you'll never have anything greater. All of that stuff. You're housing it. So your goals and things reflect that. The non-physical children, they reflect that. So it's hard for you to even tune into something that's higher vibrational, for you to even say, I'm worthy of making $60,000 a month in personal income. Because someone programmed your womb to say, no, you're not. You only deserve $10 and to struggle. And you're housing that. Inadvertently or directly, you're housing that. If that's showing up in your life, you're housing that. And so the yoni eggs come into the space to say, fuck all of that. I'm worth what I say I'm worth. And my past experiences or anybody else's intentions for me are not going to supersede what I feel for myself, what I want for myself, what I'm declaring for myself. But it's one thing to say that. It's another thing to put on the clothing and to have the external appearance. And it's another step to actually do the work to believe it through and throughout. And that's what I'm calling forth through asking you to work with the Black Obsidian, is to be thorough with it. Don't just present and look like the goddess and talk all the language and go to all of the events. That's a great step. But let's actually feel it. So when you go back home by yourself and you take off the face painting and you take off the garb and you go back to your own self, how do you really feel in that space? That's what counts. All right? So don't be afraid of the Black Obsidian. Use it for your advantage. And one other thing I wanted to point out was about Mercury retrograde. I just seen it come up on the comments, so let me just speak on it. Mercury retrograde is traditionally feared because Mercury is the planet of communication and technology. And many people fear that energy because the retrograde is basically, I'm just regurgitating what I know. I've never been in space, so I don't know this stuff directly. I haven't looked in the telescope, so I'll just tell you what I know, all right, what I've been taught. So Mercury, the planets, they go like this. And then Mercury, or retrograde, is like when the planets start spinning in a different way. I don't know if they physically do that or if it's just energetically. I don't really know what that means. I'm not an astrologist, just a person who studies astrology. But basically what it's doing is it's taking us back to deal with unsettled things. So again, it's a blessing in disguise. Because if you're not addressing these things yourself, like I can tell you, you would be a better person if you forgave all of those who did you wrong. And you could be like, yep, you're right, sis, I would. But then if you did nothing on it and you only just took those words and never acted upon it, it would only be something for you to aspire of, but you would never actually do something about it because it's hard to do that. If I told you, call everybody who's ever did you wrong, or write them a letter, or do something, have this hard conversation, many of you wouldn't do it because that's hard to do. It's a challenge. And so we have these transits that happen where it's like, oh, you about to do it today. You're about to do it today, And so give thanks for these times. Give thanks for Mercury retrograde, eclipses, negativity, facing your darkness, because all of that gives you the opportunity to do what you're not willing to do. It's like your mom, or an elder, or someone that loves you, someone that your mentor or something, and they're like, "Listen, I'll assist you. I know it's hard for you, but I'll assist you. No, you have to go and do this. I'm going to take you. I'm going to drag you." It's like that type of energy. But when we become adults, we usually aren't surrounded by that type of energy, and we make our own decisions, and our decisions usually are to keep it pushing. I'm not dealing with whatever happened, but even though you are dealing with it because you're giving birth to it, you're feeding it in your womb space, so you are dealing with it on a day-to-day basis. But in your mind, oh, unbothered, not tripping, I'm, moving on. Negative people don't have a lot. You say all of these cliche things that make you feel good, and you hope that they help, but they don't. Because again, when you take off all of that stuff, you take off all the masks and the clothing and the costumes and all that, and you go back to your own sacred space, it's all about how you feel. And so, if it still brings up that, that's like the start of an ugly cry. That feeling, if it still brings up something like that, or the anger, then you're feeding it. And so we give thanks and praise for Mercury retrograde, for the darkness of the eclipse that's coming up on August 21st, for Black Obsidian coming into our life to help us with facing this darkness, so that we can exercise all of these tools that we're learning, that teach us about forgiveness, that teach us about overcoming, that teach us about alchemy. All of those things. Don't just gather the tools to say you have them. Let's actually put them into play. And in order to put them into play, you're going to have to face some uncomfortable situations. But it's only a moment that it's going to be uncomfortable. Nothing could be more uncomfortable than holding on to something for years or a whole lifetime. Facing something and dealing with it in the moment, making that tough conversation, has got to be better than allowing all of your manifestations to be tainted by past trauma. You know what I'm saying? So it's better just to deal with these things. And again, we don't make the choice ourselves, then the universe does it for us. So we give thanks and praise for that. And I hope that it's just giving you a different perspective, and that you're ready to work with that Black Obsidian. The other powerful thing, again, we have relocated our offices to Paradise. We are in a very powerful vortex, energetic vortex. In particular, we are in the region of the heart chakra. And also within this region is volcanoes. We're surrounded by volcanoes. And for those of you that do not know, obsidian is birthed from volcanoes. And volcanoes represent this very powerful energy of destruction. But volcanoes also are what create islands. And islands are the most beautiful places in the world. You can travel anywhere in the world, but you'll always pay more to get to that island. The island's growing the best food. It's growing, has the most fertile soil. It has beautiful people. It has the best weather and climate. It's serene, all of that stuff. That's what was birthed from the volcano that came out with all of that energy and destroyed everything. But from it, what it left when it formed over, it formed islands. So apply that. That's so metaphoric. Like, that's really what happened, but it's so metaphoric for our own lives. So the negativity, the darkness, the destruction that comes is going to form you a tropical paradise in your own life. But you can't be afraid of it. So the Black Obsidian is a piece of lava, literally. That's 100% what it is. It's lava. It's actually glass. It's not even really a crystal. It's glass formed from lava. So we've bought that obsidian, and all of our yoni eggs are in this same region. But here we are. We bought the obsidian back to its home place. So it's actually connecting with its mama, with the intensity of that volcano energy. And that's what we sent out to you. So for those of you that have gotten your package from us, that's what we're sending to you, is the recharging of that glass, that obsidian being brought back to its mother, so that the original intention of it can be restored and can be raised up. That's the work that we're doing. So my packaging may suck right now, but this is the energy that I'm working on, and my intentions of where the eggs are housed. And you're not going to find it anywhere else like that. That's what, because I'm nowhere else. That's where I'm at, and that's the intention of what it is that I'm doing over here. So We're not playing no games, ladies. It's time, you know. These generational curses have to be broken. The molestation, the rape, the feeling, men feeling superior over us, giving up our ownership, not being able to have what it is that we want, feeling stuck, feeling inadequate, feeling but less than, feeling jealous of our other sisters, feeling like we have to compete. All that shit is over if you do the work. But you have to be willing to say, I do get jealous and I want to deal with it. I am sad. I am afraid. All of that stuff, like, it's time to break the generational curses, because if we don't do it, what are we doing for our daughters and the next generation that's being set up? So not only is it like, look at what all of our ancestors have done for us. For me to be able to talk to you on this computer from where I'm at in the world. For me to be able to mail you out a crystal from one of the most powerful vortexes on the planet. All of that is the work of our ancestors, and thank God they did it, but they didn't do it all. We still have our own things that we have to do. And ours is to heal these generational curses and the trauma that's living inside of our womb. Let's get that shit the fuck out of here and get off of it, so that our daughters don't have to be birthed into this, so that our men can actually step up and return to their king status, and not just parading around saying it, but to actually like embody that energy. That's what we want for ourselves. And by doing this work, we claim it for ourselves, but we also set it up for the next generation to have it as well. So we leave the planet better than what we were birthed into. So this is why your green juices are important, you know? And I hope that that's properly conveyed through my work, is that I'm not here to just say, take this crystal, put the crystal in your womb, and poop, magic, it's all everything's good. I'm not saying that to you at all, ever. I've never said that, and I will never say it to you, ever. What I am saying to you is that I'm sending you out something that is going to help you do your work. And you have to choose other things that are going to support you on your work, because the work that you are doing is not light. It is not easy. When I say you are breaking a generational curse, that is nothing to be played with. So you're going to need all the strength that you need. So go get yourself in shape. Be mindful of the extra weight that you're carrying on your body. Drink things that bring in earth energy so that you can be in alignment with these transits and not fear them. And so that you're bringing light energy into your body and into your space, so that you're better prepared. You're clearer with your vision. You're grounded. You're focused. You're here. You're present. And bring it on. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I got for you. I'm going to come to the comments and see if there's any questions. And we'll address that. Thank you guys so much for being here. I want to share with you too that there's something very important I need to add about the Black Obsidian, because I don't want you to tank too far with just the Black Obsidian. So I'm going to tell you what to pair it with. All right, so give me 1 second. Let me just read the comments and then I'll share that part with you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So I recorded this. All right, give me 1 second. I'm recording this so that I can put this up and we can have a nice clean recording, which will be this one. So bear with me for 1 second because my recording went down on Facebook Live. But if you're watching this playback, you don't have to worry about that. You just got to bear with me as I get this recording back up. Okay, so we are back. I'm gonna do a, when I repost the video, I'm gonna post a nice clean copy. I'll get that out to you tomorrow. And because I know that this is not the strongest connection here. So I did another recording. So when I play the post the when I post the playback, it'll be a nice strong stream, so you guys will be able to watch this the whole class all the way through without the drops in service that I've experienced here. Okay. So what I wanted to say, what I wanted to share with you is that the Black Obsidian is amazing for all of the reasons that I shared with you for you to be working with and dealing with. However, Black Obsidian is very grounding. And when we're too grounded, we lose our humor. We lose our lightness, and we lose our, we can tank. You can tank so far into your grounding that you go dark, and you don't really know how to come up out of the darkness. So it's important to not go to work with your Black Obsidian, but you got to do other work with it too, because I don't want you to tank so far that you lose your essence of joy and innocence and purity. You know, again, what I've discussed has been very heavy energy that we're dealing with these astrological transits, but then also I'm calling forth for you to really deal with your own darkness within yourself. And that's heavy. And the Black Obsidian is going to help you with going to that space and dealing with that darkness. But I don't want you to stay in that space or not know how to get out of that space. So it's really important for you to pair it with something light. So in the crystal realm in general, that would be something like, make sure you have selenite around in your home, in your space. Rose quartz, anything of light color, white color crystal quartz of that sort. That's going to help you with it's going to balance you out so that you're not tanking so far down into all of those roots, into all of the trauma, into all of the pain and the darkness. You got to go there, because that's where the goodness is at. You know, really, that's where your freedom is at. So you do got to go there, but come out. Don't go into the volcano and never come out. Go in there and get what you need and come out. So what's going to help you come out is, again, these light colored crystals. Selenite and rose quartz in particular. Now, when we're talking about yoni eggs, I would recommend to match your Black Obsidian work with rose quartz, green aventurine, which those two are in our heart chakra collection, because we're matching the root with the heart. All right. So we're saying, like, these are matters of heart. So when you're dealing with the darkness, with the past trauma, with the fear and things, you're really dealing with matters of the heart. So you have to go down there to get it, but then you come back up through by getting into your heart space. All right? Remembering your innocence, remembering your love, remembering your ability to forgive, remembering your ability to be to coexist. So that's going to be in your heart. So check anything inside of the heart chakra collection at yonieggs.com. And, which, by the way, I have no affiliation to yoniegg.com. My site is strictly with an S, plural. Yonieggs.com is my site. So go to the Heart Chakra collection on there, and pick yourself up a rose quartz yoni egg or a green aventurine, or both. Green aventurine is going to help with fertility and prosperity. So as you do the cleansing of the womb, you are going to, you could use the green aventurine frequency to raise up your money issues, your worth, to a higher frequency. All right. So you stop accepting less for yourself, and charge up that womb space to higher vibes, and say that I can claim the abundance. Because it's fun to say, I'm abundant, and all of that, but you have to actually mean that. It has to come from a space that's very sincere in your whole being, and that might take years and years of work. So we can pull on the wisdom of the elementals, of the crystals, of the rocks, of these divine beings, to help inspire us, and to use some of their energy to, while we're working through these things that have devalued us. Okay, and then the rose quartz is going to help you with forgiveness. It's going to help you with love. It's going to help you with attracting what it is that you want in your life, as far as in relationships and how you coexist with other people. And then, of course, crystal quartz is supreme. It's in all of the collections because it's the only one that's attuned to all seven chakras. All right, and so in support of your work, I'm opening up the sale, the 50% off sale beyond Black Obsidian. I had to do just Black Obsidian because I had to make you guys get the Black Obsidian because I knew if it was paired together with other ones that you would overlook it. Because I know you guys. I've been working with you for almost 10 years with Yoni Eggs, so I know you. And so I know that if it was just the whole store was on sale, you would go to the funner stuff. But I wanted you to go down into the volcano and get into the pit. So, but now I'm opening it up because I want you to get some other things to balance yourself out. I don't want you to tank too far. So if you go to yonieggs.com, you can use the discount code WOMB, WOMB, and that'll give you 50% off of any Yoni egg in the store. Okay? So I love you. I love you, love you, love you, ladies. I am constantly working for you. I am constantly finding ways to raise the frequency of the planet. It's my contract that I accepted. And it's the mission that I'm on in this lifetime, and I am on it all of the time. And it means doing my own work, and it means going into my own darkness, and it means for me to constantly be on my tools. And I hope I reflect that in the things in my leadership. You know, I hope that that's something that you see in me, that you see me taking my shots and my hits, and you see me transmuting them. I do it for myself, but I also do it for you, and I do it for your babies. And I do it for our future generation because I'm here. And this is what my mama brought me through this portal to come and do. And I'm not going to deny my mission. So when I get slapped and when I get knocked around by life, I am using my tools. And I am on my journey of womanhood. And I'm transmuting the fuck out of this energy too. Just like I tell you. So I'm not coming from a space of like, here's what you need to do to live this kind of life, even though I haven't done it. And coming from a space of, yo, I went to hell and I met Satan and here's what I did to make it back out, you know? So I'm actually on the field with you doing the work. I'm never above you. I'm never below you, but I'm side by side. So when you're in the pit, you can look for me and I'm right there with you. I'm doing the work with you, all right? I got my green juice by the side. I got 1,000,000 fucking eggs in my basket. I am on it. And again, I hope you always see that in me. And I do my very best to stay transparent through all of my work and to share with you what it is that I'm going through so that because I never want you to put me on a pedestal, ever. And if you have me on a pedestal, take me off and take your seat right next to me on your own throne because we are all divine and we are all powerful and we are all special and I am not above you, regardless of my age, regardless of my social status, regardless of how many followers I have. All of that is just an illusion. I am not separate from you. I am right here with you. Okay? So I am speaking to you from the pit of the volcano. And sometimes I'm speaking to you from paradise, you know, but it's all relevant. We all are going through different cycles. So I put up a blog. I have a couple things I wanted to share with you before I go. Again, my name is Tiffany Janae, for those of you that don't know me, and I own this company. And I'm going through some heavy transitions my own self. I've relocated, and I've relocated to my dream spot. And for those of you who have ordered from me recently, you know where I'm at. And so that's awesome, but I'm also going through a divorce. And if you've been following me on social media, you know that I loved the fuck out of my husband and adored him. And so for me to be going through a separation is both liberating and it's also full of challenges because I no longer have my best friend by my side. And I am super thankful. I didn't think I was going to get emotional when I talked about this, but I'm very thankful for us to both be set free and to find the blessings that came from the connection that we had together. It was nothing short of divine and miraculous and incredible, but it was time for us to move on and to create with new people in new spaces. And so I am in that, which is the pit of my own volcano, and me facing my own darkness and my fears. And but I'm doing it from the most beautiful place in the world. And I'm also in the midst of having to make a bunch of changes and to let go of a lot of things that I've spent a lot of time building up and starting new. So I'm dealing with a lot of my own fear. And I'm showing up. And I'm doing my work, and I'm using my tools, and I'm not allowing my own self to tank into my darkness. And I have developed accountability partners, and I'm doing things to really be complete with experiences. You know, I can see in every relationship I have how I've manifested that existence. And rather than deny that and deny my own part in it, I choose to step up to it and to face it and to say, I created this. And I decide when I'm complete with the experience. And so, fortunately and unfortunately, some of that experience that I'm complete with ended with my relationship. And I'm doing the work on a constant basis, and I've built a superhero team around me that is helping me to stay accountable to making sure that I keep my worth and I stay on my goals and that I reach for the heights of the heights by going to the depths of the depths, and that I don't cut myself short. So again, I speak to you from side by side, sister. I don't speak to you from above you, and I don't speak to you from beneath you. I speak to you from side by side. And I've been sharing my journey in various ways. There's a blog that was published on Exo Nicole, which is my most favorite blog ever. I have so much love for Nicole. And that it's about Girls Trip. That's the title of it, but it's actually my story. And it's the welcoming back of my writing. I was a writer for a very long time, a published writer, wrote for magazines, and I haven't been able to write for almost a decade. I haven't been able to put out any solid work. And this article that I wrote for Exo Nicole was very personal to me, and it challenged me to have to share. I'm a very private person, so for me to share what I shared was a lot for me, but also it's one of my best works that I've ever done as a writer, which is great for me because I let go of something very important to me, and God blessed me for my sacrifice and gave me my gift of writing, which is going to help so many more people. So there's that. And then also I have my own personal website, which is tiffanyjanae.com. And I blog on there and sharing my journey as I'm going along. So I invite you to come along over there. I was raised by a very, very intuitive, clairvoyant mother. And I've been called forth to start doing readings. I'm 37 years old, and I've never professionally done readings for people. And I've been doing them in the last couple of months through my website, tiffanyjanae.com. And it's been amazing how many people I'm helping. And so all of these things that have transpired in my own personal life is allowing me to come back and to be of service to you all in ways that I wasn't able to be back then. So there's always goodness that comes from the darkness. And I share it with you from personal experience. Okay? So again, I'm not telling you anything that's all airy-fairy bullshit that I'm not doing myself. I'm sharing with you this information and these tools from a space of me and what I'm doing and me going through my darkness, and I'm showing you constantly how I'm transmuting that. Because when you are so far in your darkness and you don't know how to go back, I want to send something out to you, a life raft out to you, so that you can pull yourself out. Okay? So I continuously put myself out there, and I share, and I express myself the best way that I can when I'm ready, because I'm in it for you, and I'm here to transmute the energy of this planet for us, to enjoy the rest of our existence to the best of our ability, and for our daughters and our next generations and our sons. All right? So now I feel like a crybaby, and I'm about to get off of here. But again, the feed I know on here wasn't super strong, but I do have a recording, and I'll put that up by tomorrow morning. And the recording will be a nice solid feed, so you guys will be able to watch the whole class from beginning to the end with no interruptions. And if you are just joining me, I have opened up the whole store. All of the Yoni eggs are 50% off. Use code WOMB, WOMB, and that will take 50% off. Again, I isolated just the Black Obsidian for a few weeks because I wanted you to not be afraid to go into your darkness. But now I need you to get something light to balance yourself up. Come up out of the roots. Don't go too far down. Come out, okay? But don't be afraid to go down there. All right? I love you. I hope you have a great day. I'm about to go party and dance this shit off. All right. Peace, you all.